If you do nothing else, show courage and speak truth to power. Future generations depend on what we do now. All power to the people.
Welcome to Respect My Vote, second national call where we're going to be discussing some very important topics. We want to welcome you wherever you are. And if you are just tuning in, we would love your participation. So stay with us. We have some interesting and very important information to share with you tonight. So here is why we're here tonight. And not to be told who to vote for. We're here to clear the air about voting and to build with each other and to walk out with real tools to fight for our communities. Respect My Vote isn't a moment every 4 years, it's a movement. And it's been ours for 18 years. So let's get into it. I'm Aura Vasquez, and I am Hip Hop Caucus newest member of the family. I am the campaigns and advocacy director, where I work with some fabulous people here at the caucus. And I'm a all things nature lover and also music lover. So let's get into it. So right now, if you're watching, wherever you are, please drop in the chat your name, where you're tuning in from, and what's keeping you busy. We would love for this conversation today to be interactive and for you guys to participate and to also give us feedback about what we're saying. And I know online is a little difficult and it can be a little weird. So we want to feel your energy as well by learning where you're tuning in from and also what's in your mind and what's keeping you busy. So that we also hear through our live stream, we can see your comments and we can bring your comments in as well. So that way we can have an interactive conversation for the rest of the afternoon. So don't forget, drop in the chat your name, where are you tuning in from, and what's keeping you busy so that we can figure it out and find out where you guys are watching and what are your impressions. So this is a conversation where you are welcome to share in the comments as much as you like. You can ask questions, you can say suggestions. So just join us here through the comments. So today's purpose, or the purpose of today's call, is to make sure that we are turning to our power. And Respect My Vote is where we do that. This is our national calls, and it's a space where we learn about voting, where we build community with people who got your back, and pick up the skills to fight for what our communities need. Is a movement you are helping build as well. So here we're gonna learn skills tonight, things that you can apply in other spaces and in other fights and in other community things that you do. Find your people. There's gonna be a lot of like-minded people here in the chat and in this live stream, so in which you can organize and have an organizing space to build together. Also, claim your power because we are building the future we want to see. So we want you to also be part of this visionary process that we're taking on to envision the world we want to see. And roll with us. 18 years, this is our anniversary. Finally, Respect My Vote can vote. And we have been turning culture into power for 18 years. So this is the perfect space for you to join us this election season. Okay, let me see if I'm missing any comments. No comments yet. So I'd like to introduce one of my favorite colleagues here at the caucus, TC, who is an events and field coordinator, and he is going to tell you a little bit about of the Hip Hop Caucus. So, TC, welcome.
Man, look, I don't even know why this part of this call is even necessary, because if you don't know who the Hip Hop Caucus is by now, something is wrong with you. We turned 22 this month. We turned 18 with our Respect My Vote last month. So if you don't know us, I don't know, because where is that? We are the beat of a movement. We're here fighting for racial, climate, and economic justice. That's what we do. And we're here, and we got a beautiful staff, beautiful team under the guidance and the leadership of our CEO and founder, Reverend Leonard Yearwood Jr. You may know him as Rev Yearwood. He's been crisscrossing all over the country with Respect My Vote, doing all the things, fighting for justice all across the country. So you need to know about the Hip Hop Caucus, and you can follow us everywhere on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X. You can find us anyway, hiphopcaucus.org. But let me tell you this. You're like, well, who are y'all? Man, we're a national nonprofit. We do a lot of stuff around campaigns and advocacy when we are fighting from the streets to the suites. So we down there with your homie Pookie and Ray Ray, trying to organize them around legislation and policy, but then we take them to Capitol Hill to make sure that our voices are heard. But not only are we having these conversations, but we are literally using culture. We're not just called the Hip Hop Caucus for nothing, but we're using that voice, that spoken word. We're using culture, we're using sound, we're using video to tell our story. We also a storyteller. That's what hip hop was. Hip hop tells a story, so we're making sure that we get the story about our racial fight, our economic fight, our climate fight. We are making sure that we do that, and that everybody is a part of it. We want you, if you didn't already know that we're the beat of a movement, that you need to come on, just stop playing, come on, tell a friend. Look, if you on here, you need to go tell somebody else, you need to tag somebody, invite them to this call to learn about Respect My Vote, who's 18. Respect My Vote is going to vote with you. And we're making sure that everybody plays the vote. So the Hip Hop Caucus is here for you. We're a beat of the movement. We got campaigns. We got advocacy. Man, we do storytelling. We use that culture. We use that drum. We do that drum beat. We get you excited. We hip. We inform, hop to get you moving, caucus together. We are the Hip Hop Caucus. So come on. Let's go. Respect My Vote.
I love that. Bring back that energy here, TC. Thank you so much for your welcoming explanation about what the Hip Hop Caucus is. I totally agree. You share with us what our work is like and what we do. And before I move on to the next session, I want to just give a brief shout out to a few people that are here on the chat. Sarah from Ohio. We have Maureen from New York City. We have Bree. Oh, hello there. Nikki, we have so many people, so many wonderful people. Ruth, Caroline, Sarah, Crystal, so many wonderful people. So thank you and welcome to our live stream. I also wanted to share that we're going to have some wonderful guests here tonight that are going to be speaking about many different issues. We're going to have Jasmine Gill, and I'll let her introduce herself later. We're going to have Christy Diamo, who runs our Think 100 and all of the transportation justice, and she's going to be speaking with us too. Also, Dr. White, who also leads our advocacy, and Stefan Cower, who is our Justice Painful, which is a wonderful, very cutting-edge campaign. So thank you, TC. Thank you for the warm introduction to our work. All right. So now I would like to welcome Jasmine and Stefan, who are going to be sharing a little bit about how we do the work and the work that we do. So hi guys, welcome.
Howdy, howdy.
How are you guys feeling about this live stream? A lot of energy on the chat.
Hey, I like somebody in the queue hype me up, because TC got me hyped up. So I'm happy to be here.
Totally. And we hope that everybody can feel the same energy that we're feeling here in the stream. whatever you're watching. So please join us on the chat. Send us your comments and your questions. We're here for it. But Jasmine, how are you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself, Anna?
Good, good, good. It's kind of excited. It's accelerating here to be like, I can kind of feel the energy, even though it's just us here, so exciting to be talking about voting. This, September is September 1st, and excited to have you both here. So, please share a little about our campaigns.
Listen, I'll jump right into it, right? And I want to tell you about the platform that I lead, Justice Paid in Full, where we use the collective economic power to be able to change where money flows so everybody gets a real shot at a good life. We know that we're talking about affordability issues. We all feel it in our wallets right now. And so what we're here to do is be able to organize to get our financial institutions to be able to divest from the fossil fuel industry, from mass incarceration. And we want to be able to create pathways to invest in equitable, community-based efforts and promote investment in mission-driven institutions. And so what we do know, we all know, we can name this crisis. It has authors. This is an affordability crisis that we're in. Housing, energy, insurance, credit. None of these have got expensive the way that they are by accident. We know that somebody has wrote these rules that let a system profit off of our backs. And they are counting on you to be able to forget. And, but what we do know is that those somebodies, they work for us. And so we at Justice Paid in Full, we see it as a solution about how we can be able to move capital back where it belongs in our communities, in our businesses, and on our blocks. So we have people in office who are holding these financial institutions who are not, let me be clear, not holding these financial institutions accountable to the community reinvestment obligations that they have to us. And so we have the opportunity to be able to elect officials who will not turn a blind eye to the redlining that's happening in our communities. We want to be able to tell folks to respect my vote for leaders who will pass laws to expand access to capital, not to the ones where you live in a certain zip code, but we want everybody to have access to capital to do what they want to do. And so this November, we get an opportunity to vote for an economy that works for all of us, not just the people who are writing these rules, who are underwriting these rules. Voting is a direct way to be able to hold these authors that I've been talking about accountable. Vote like your neighborhood depends on it. Vote like real consumer protections. Vote for jobs. Vote for wages that cover the rent, the mortgage, the groceries, all of it. And so that is Justice Paid in Full. And the other platform that is incredibly important to me is Good Trouble, where we are laying the groundwork and being the watchdog over the culture's most pressing civil rights issues and human rights issues, from criminal justice to immigration, healthcare, education, and so much more. We are watching federal and state authorities expand their footprint into communities in ways that put our civil liberties and lives at risk. And so here with Good Trouble, we are talking about, this is where Good Trouble is going to be able to connect directly to my work in economic justice and all of our work, right? And so if you've been hearing about militarized policing, mass incarceration, these are two sides of the same coin. One polices our communities and the other profits off of locking us up. And you can't fully fix one without confronting the other. And so we want safety for everybody. Real safety is not militarized. Safety is a public shared good that we can be able to build together. And so I want you guys to know that this Good Trouble platform, it's time for us to get information, to be able to change these systems persistently and together. So watch for the call to action that come from Good Trouble. And I will pass it to my friend, Jasmine.
Thank you, Stefan, so much. I couldn't have said it better myself. Hello, everybody. My name is Jasmine Gill. I lead the climate and environmental justice work at the caucus, and I'm so excited to talk to you about that work, which is known as Think 100%. Think 100%, essentially what we do is we hold polluters accountable that are ruining our environments, harming our families, harming our health, and also impacting our wallets as well, and our ability to be able to fill those wallets from us going to jobs, from us being able to take our children to school, schools, so on and so forth. These aren't just natural climate disasters that are happening by coincidence. They are being fueled by the climate crisis, which is being fueled by big oil, petrochemicals, a lot of these industries that are essentially are lining their pockets not only with our health issues, but with our own resources. And so what we do is we hold them accountable through campaigns, through advocacy, through storytelling, through our communications work that TC talked about earlier, and we educate our community around those issues. A lot of times we may feel that we aren't the experts to speak to them because we don't know the terminology, but we're here to tell you, first and foremost, you're always the expert. You're seeing, you're feeling, and you're hearing what's happening in your community around these climate issues, and there's no better person to speak to it than you. And so with that being said, that's a part of how we also approach our Respect My Vote work. Everyone is a part of this work. Every single decision maker that sits in a seat that makes decision on what kind of jobs we have, what kind of industries that we have in our environments, what kind of access to resources that we have, those all revolve around decision makers who are elected, who we put in those seats to make the best decisions for us and for our communities. And I saw a really great question come from YouTube from the Will Voss. He asked, or they asked, how are we going to energize a youth vote that has absolutely nothing to look forward to in either parties? That's exactly why Hip Hop Caucus does this work, through looking at the issues that we care about. Because what we want you to know is that at any point in time, that is not about any party. It's about the issues that impact the community. It's about the issues that impact your household, that impact your daily basis. And what we know is that in order for us to make any sort of effort to change that reality for ourselves and for our communities, we have to show up at the polls. And it's not the only way to do it, but it is one of the strongest tools in our toolbox to be able to do it. And one of the ways that Hip Hop Caucus does it, especially uniquely than any other place, is we do that through art. We want to bring you through the art that is able to be created to be able to show up in these spaces, right? We can't create art. We can't create beautiful communities. We can't create thriving livelihoods without having clean air, clean water, without having appropriate decision makers that are fighting for what our communities need. And so that's the purpose of Respect My Vote and how we show up in this work. And I hope that answers your question, but open it up and send it back to Alda to also give her input on how and why we do that work with youth as well.
On fire, you guys. Thank you so much. And I couldn't say it better, Jasmine. Absolutely. You know, young people and young voters, Gen Z, and all of us out there that are young at heart really deeply care about what's happening to our families and to our communities. And that's what moves us. And one of the purposes of this call is, again, build community, understand what's happening in your neck of the woods and your corners, so that we can together find those issues, communality, and address, you know, a lot of those problems. Young people are having to compete for, you know, jobs with, you know, new technologies that were not around, at least when I was born. And I don't want to update myself here, but, you know, young people are struggling with paying, you know, with their student loans, to, you know, to moving out of their homes, to have their own, you know, to start their own lives, to have families. A lot of young people are really also rippling with these questions around the environment. How are we going to leave a better planet for future generations? So I'm glad that we're having these conversations, and people keep bringing those comments, y'all. Keep bringing those comments to the chat, because this is the way that we can interact, and this is the way that we can hear your concerns. Call your friends, call your ex-girlfriends, your future wives. Just call everybody in the chat right now. Just call everybody, share it on social media, and let's just get this conversation very lively, because we're going to bring Stefan and Jasmine back in a minute. But next, I have a very special guest, and it wouldn't be, you know, hip hop style if we didn't have a cultural act as part of our calls. And, you know, something that we do really well here at Hip Hop Caucus is really touch you with all of the arts and all of the senses that actually hip hop, you know, talks about. So I want to welcome John, and I want to just preface. I learned so much. I was looking for John's bio, and I learned that he is a multidisciplinary artist, that his works blends writing, spoken word, photography, and he's been a published artist. He has several books of poetry and photography published, as well as spoken word albums. And beyond this stage, and this is the kicker for me at least, he documents Louisiana wildlife, leads swamp walks, and works with youth and adult programs on environmental education. Oh, fire, John. Thank you for that. While spending time at a studio, in the woods, he worked on nature books and environmental programs for teens in New Orleans. So, guys, help me welcome in the chat. Send all those hearts and all those like happy faces, whatever you guys. Let's just welcome John. John, take it away. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Like she said, I do all those things, and one of my favorite things to do is spoken word. So I have this piece that I prepared for y'all tonight. So I hope y'all enjoy it. All right. I'm taking 10 of my students, one of them out the Magnolia Projects, to Ghana next summer. A promise turned purpose, a vision I visioned when I was visiting Kenya last year. I remember when I first became a dean. I wasn't mean. I knew I needed to build relationships, and most of my students, they live at risk. Hell, it's a risk just to get to school sometimes. And some have more seat time in jail than the classroom, so they get anxious around a lot of people. What he looking at me for starts fights often. I'm charged with getting them to sit down and talk it out, take accountability, have the ability to express their feelings without violence. I won't be up here lying or be self-righteous, but I'm trying and I'm struggling with the uses of the word YN. Because, see, some of my favorite people are YNs, and my YNs are pretty much the same as those across the nation. They just mix with a little New Orleans flavor. They might rob you and say baby, but baby, please don't laugh because nothing's funny. My youngins, now YNs, often have to pretend and be. The streets got one too many of their brothers resting in peace, and no one is able to really help them with grief, so they flash out. Lose all the trust in the adults they love, get addicted to drugs, and crash out. And now they got a rap sheet longer than the rappers that make the music they say influence them to do it. And I say, well, the rappers are often young as themselves, chanting them spells. And when you're going and living through hell, unfortunately, that's your therapy, your release, a means of fun. Sure, D, one with his spirit, but his lyrics aren't reaching Lil T off second and D. No matter how much I play his music, the influence is his mind being out of town for weeks. He's the oldest of 5 and only 17. Had a dream of playing ball, but got shot in the leg because his dad used him as a shield in a shootout. The new route was taking care of the kids as a kid. And unfortunately, his friends shared a similar stories to him. So they click up. Go to school late because they gotta smoke first. Otherwise, they won't do no work and focus on nothing. And some of them have ADHD, struggle to read, 504s and IEPs, have the will to do the things, but afraid to ask for help or show that they don't understand. So they cut up, act up. And if you're not patient with them, back up. Remember, they lack trust. So if you're triggered by them being triggered, they go from being youngest to YN in an instant. It's the mission to de-escalate. Adults that can't, please tag someone else in or leave the environment. Trust me, I know it's tiring. Just today, a student told me he's feeling like he's stuck. He had to live in a crack house to find shelter. It makes sense he's a felon before he had. It makes sense he's a felon before having the right to vote. He's hopeless. So when I do, I'm paying attention to the details, not what they say they'll do, with the hopes that the vote can help them too, while being 10 toes, hands down too. Uptown, soon Ghana, a promise to on purpose, so worth it. We are raising money. They don't come from it, so we will bring it to them. And it's all on me to be one of those next greats. No food on my plate, not even a grape, so nothing as fine as wine. I'm down to my last dime. I can't nickel and dime in these times. I gotta be on a heavy grind, so I hustle these words, hoping these subjects and verbs get me from the curb to the suburbs. Superb speech is what I give you, lyrical miracles. And hopefully these words heal those that are sick and give life to those that thought it was over. It's all on me to be that supporter. No misreporter, not all black men are negative. It's time to switch up them adjectives, turn them negatives to positives. Take my life since you got a film, it's all on me to represent. And I represent the betterment for all those whose skin is filled with melanin. Another one of God's instruments, I'm heaven sent. See, God loves ugly, despite what you believe. It's all on me to help you see. Dig deep if you seek the info. See with your mind, our eyes are just windows. This is for kids who lay heads on pillows, dreaming of a day to become a doctor or a lawyer or an entrepreneur while they shoveling the manure that's been given to them through inner city schooling. They're forced to swallow it like mucus. It's all on me to produce this hope. They expect us to climb mountains. No rope. I'd be ashamed if I'd be broke. I sell soap before I be a part of the joke. It's all on me, so I do whatever for me and my people. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. That was amazing. Thank you, John, for blessing us with
Thank
your
you.
talent and for inspiring us. I couldn't keep up with the chat because it's on fire right now. But you know, I appreciate everybody is loving it. The message, you know, I mean, I don't even know where to start. Felicity Figueroa is like hearting and it's snaps everywhere. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the work that you do on the ground. Thank you so much for just being with us or being a supporter, you know, and much about the work that we do is changing culture and changing the way we see things and utilizing the beautiful things and the fun things that we have that inspire us every day to take action. So thank you so much because, you know, voting is fun, you all. So on that note, let me tell you that right now we are sending the plug to you. So get your phones ready. Because right now we want you to text vote to 79591. That's 79591 and vote. And I know you guys might be saying, wait, hold on, Auda. How are we going to do that if we're watching you talk, girl? So I get it. But take a screenshot. Do it now. There you go. Take a screenshot. There you go. And make sure that you text us so you get plugged in so you can connect with us when we are, you know, in between calls and in between things. Also, because we have a few QR codes also that you can screenshot right now for you to register to vote, to pledge to vote. And maybe if you're unsure, like a lot of us, you might want to check if you even, you know, maybe even in the registry. So we have all those tools. Check us out, text us. We're ready for you. And while we're at it, drop in the chat in one word, what issue is most concerning for you this election? So what are some of the things that are in your heart? And I try to preface this question for you all earlier when I asked what was keeping you busy, what was in your mind, how are we feeling? But let me see what people are saying in the chat before we move on to the next segment of our live stream. So, okay, some people are saying fascism. All right. Other people are saying ICE. Wendy Green is sharing getting representation for the underrepresented. Wendy Green, representation. I love it. Disenfranchisement. Yeah. Fascism again. Okay. So in one word, what issues are more concerning for you this election? I personally very concerned about the high cost of living. Everywhere you turn, everything is so expensive. And, you know, so it's like, how do we ask, you know, America out there to have a thriving life when everything is so expensive? So that's what's in my heart. But some people are saying here food supply. So keep the comments coming. We would love to hear and drop in one word what issues are more concerning to you, because the next part is a really important part that I think you guys are really gonna like. So stay with us. And I want to bring a wonderful person that is an expert on this topic. I want to bring in Dr. White, who will be talking to us about where in the country we're doing work. But, you know, I want to just say that a lot of this work, as you see, these are our main states and such, and Dr. White is going to talk more about it. But we are a national organization and we support fights every corner of this country. And this is why our calls are accessible. Hi, Dr. White, welcome.
Hi, Auda. Thank you so much.
How are you
again?
doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing really well. I'm really happy to be here.
Beautiful. So I'm going to bring back the map for you so that you can walk us through, where we're building power.
Yeah, absolutely. So the map that you see encompasses all the places that Hip Hop Caucus works. Again, we are a national organization. We are building power throughout all 50 states. But since 2004, we've been working with specific state and local communities across the United States in the fight for voting rights. And so what you'll see here are some neon and maroon states that are highlighted. So our priority states are those maroon states. So that includes Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, Ohio, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And so what priority state really means is that we're really active in these states, is where you'll see us the most. We have some on-ground events there. And then the neon are our power building states. And so this includes California, Wisconsin, West Virginia, North Carolina, Alabama, and Mississippi. And so these states are where we have very active fights and our work is growing. But in general, our work is federal and state. And so the reason for this specification is that some of the work is a lot more local and state-based. But at all three levels, we are building power, and we're really happy for you to be here and support us in this fight in our priority power building states as well as all 50 states.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And if your state isn't lit up tonight, you still respect my vote. So you're still part of this family. If you're watching this here, this is a national movement, and there are ways for every single one of you to plug in. So stay tuned. Don't leave just yet. Grab some water, grab some coffee, whatever you need. We'll bring you all of the information that you need for you to be informed and be ready to make a plan and be ready for voting this election. So now I want to change a little bit. I want you guys to hold my hand and walk with me to All Eyes on Gary, Indiana. And I want to show this video. So in case you have not been following in the news what's going on in Gary, Indiana, so you can be up to date, because we're going to have a very candid conversation about this community that has been so affected by the climate crisis and also utility bills. So let's watch the video.
Almost 2 weeks since a derecho swept through Illinois and northwest Indiana with high winds damaging homes, uprooting trees, and knocking out power for hundreds of thousands of residents.
You gotta think about Gary is predominantly black, and look how they treating us. It's terrible out here, man.
The last 2 weeks in Gary have been
extremely tiring, somewhat frustrating for a lot of folks.
This city is 90% us, and we will never be forgotten about. And as long as I got lungs and I got air in them, I'm gonna do everything I possibly can to make sure any community that look like mine will not be under-reserved and under-funded.
So we almost into the 2-week deadline now, And I said, well, that's as long as we ever been out, with power.
Without power for over 2 weeks, it's still in recovery. We have about 95, 97% of the population that is back with power.
Something fell apart in that part of Indiana. The Indiana Utility Board is going to have to do an investigation. Also, the mayor, of why there has not. Where was the response?
Right.
Where was the response?
Thank you, everyone, for watching with us and get updated of what's happening in Gary right now. And things have changed greatly since this video was produced. But if you don't know what's going on in Gary, I encourage you to learn more. And today I have a very special guest that is going to join us. I want to welcome Dr. Josh, who brings over 16 years of teaching and administration across Chicagoland and Gary schools, including leadership roles with Chicago International Charter Schools, Roosevelt College and Career Academy, and Lighthouse College Prep. He currently sits as an executive director of City Life Center in Gary, Indiana, and has been doing incredible work in the front lines in Gary to center community, providing aid and provide resources for academic enrichment. Dr. Josh and CLC believes that this work is done with respect, hope, compassion, and faith. Thank you so much, Dr. Josh, for being here with us tonight.
It's good to be here. Good to share.
I know that for a lot of people, this might be the first time that they're hearing about Gary. And for some of us that have been watching, we're excited to have you here. And I would love for you to start by sharing your own story about being locked out of your own building because of the outage. Keypads, locks now don't work. They don't have power. Walk us through what was that week was like for you and your team trying to keep servicing Gary while dealing with that yourself.
So my wife called me from her job, which is literally 2 minutes from us at one of the schools here in town. And she said, our power's out. I said, okay, well, I'm going to the building and I'm gonna sit in the building during the storm and then I'm just gonna roll out. Had no idea that the storm was gonna be like it was. So I couldn't get into the building because we have power, smart locks. So we couldn't get into the building. And so I sat in my car actually while the storm happened. So it got pitch black outside and it just rolled in. I'm watching trees go down. I'm watching thunder, lightning hit, and I'm saying, oh my goodness, it was just complete devastation around. I see cars pulling over, trying to pull over, trying to drive. And, in the immediate aftermath after the storm, I drove around Gary and there were trees down everywhere. It was flooding up to past your car door. It was just really a bad scene originally, but we saw community immediately also. So there was hope immediately within the people that we had to come together and to dig ourselves out. And, that resilience really came alive immediately.
Thank you, Dr. Josh. And is this something that happens very often?
Okay, I'm 42 years old, so I've lived in Chicago, that chasing all those trees and those power lines down. So that's really what brought the greatest of devastation.
So Gary is now 99% restored on paper. But what are you still hearing and seeing from your community that doesn't, show up in numbers? What's the latest impact folks are still navigating?
So people are still dealing with the loss of food and then the need for more vouchers, when people, because so many people lost food for 2 weeks without power and such, they were not able to get to places. The stores didn't have ice. People aren't able to make ice. They aren't able to do anything. Loss of medicine. So you need in a lot of need. Our building, which is our center, is housed inside of the Flourish Community Hub. It's a community. So we're a community center, City Life is, and then the Flourish Hub. We've been working together since we got our power back on here at the building to feed people. So there's been breakfast, lunch, and dinner here every day. And then also we had all type of resources, the supplies needed. So those are the things that people need. People are still saying, hey, I'm not able to get around. We need transportation. We need to be able to get things to our seniors and our veterans who are disabled and can't get out of the house. So that's another challenge, is trying to get things from where the resource centers and hubs are to where the need is. Right here in our community around our building, we have a lot of disabled people and people who are below poverty line who are just struggling to just make ends meet. So, just trying to keep them fed, trying to keep their spirits up, trying to show them, give them a smile every day and show them how much we love them and show them that sense of community.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And this is exactly why we tie power and voice together and Respect My Vote, because we want to learn what's happening on the ground. We know that environmental issues, you name it yourself, are affecting us now every day, are affecting, especially Black and communities of color more than most, as a vulnerable, community. So, what's your call to action for people across the country right now that are watching right now, and where can they follow the work that City Life Center is doing?
So they can always follow City Life on our social media, City Life Center of Northwest Indiana on Facebook, City Life NWI on Instagram, and of course they can go to our website, citylifenwi.org. we're out there. We're providing aftercare for kids so those families can go work. But our call to action right now is, if you are able to support, if you're able to give, let's come together and be community. Let's help those who are the most deserved or underserved in our communities. Let's make sure we hold our politicians accountable. We love our mayor here in Gary. He has done a phenomenal job. Our aldermen, our councilmen, they have done a phenomenal job. We even thank our governor, who has been holding the feet of NIPSCO to the fire. And then we even love NIPSCO. NIPSCO has been donating, been out, been working. We saw all the trucks. We saw the parade of trucks. People have been working nonstop to get the power back on. And as you said, 99% people have that power still on. There's still a few people who need those weather heads to be fixed, but the power is back on.
So just lastly, before I let you go, what's your website, the organization's website, so people can donate? Oh, here we have it, City Life WI, so you can donate and support your work. Thank you so much. Please keep us posted about what's going on. And this is when we see the intersectionality between our environmental campaigns, what's happening on the ground, how people are affected, and how voting is so important, you all. So I hope that you are making a plan to vote, and that you are figuring out if you're registered or not. And also this is another way to, to partake and to support this work. So thank you so much, Dr. Josh. We'll have you back again, hopefully soon, with better news.
Yes.
An update. Absolutely.
Look forward to
Thank you. And now I would like to bring back Dr. White to talk a little bit about the utilities work that we're doing, and how this is connected with what's going on at Gary, and with the climate crisis, and with intersectionality with everything else. And I know some people in the chat are asking, and clear, stay with us, folks. Hold our hand, and stay with us so you can have more clarity about what we're doing. But this is where we discuss, our local campaigns, what's happening on the ground, and how voting is one vehicle for us to fight with what's going on today. So Dr. White, take it away.
Absolutely. Well, obviously we are living through an era of significant energy injustices. Gary, Indiana is an example of a national issue, specifically where we'll talk about later, Michigan and Georgia parallel. And so even though Gary is 99% restored today, there are lasting impacts that they're still navigating that were highlighted by the last speaker. After the violent storms and tornadoes struck the Southwest Indiana, they did not have power for 2 weeks. They didn't have refrigeration, they didn't have lights. The supermarkets closed. The tenants couldn't get into their apartments because their apartments have electric keypads. Gas stations ran out of fuel. And so the governor, Mike Braun, and the residents have called for investigations into why a private utility company, so NIPSCO, as was mentioned earlier, didn't restore power within those 2 weeks. And so power outages are a major symptom of utility justice fights in general, right? So although Indiana has had this specific instance, and it's really an outcry for energy justice, Gary represents an issue that we are all too familiar with. And so when we think about Gary, and we think about what we can do in this election, first we should think about it at the federal level as well as state and local. So Gary, Indiana, if you did not know, used to have federal Solar for All funding for rooftop solar. And for these alternative energy programs, they were awarded $117 million, and it was actually taken away from them. And so the midterm elections would be able to provide representatives that could help fight for these alternative energy programs, for these infrastructure pieces that could help prevent these issues that have been happening in Gary as well as throughout the rest of the United States. At the state and local level, you'll find that when you investigate different utility, private or public in different states, they have a commission. And so in Indiana, there's something called the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. And so they have the power to investigate and issue consequences, right? So they have the power to investigate NIPSCO, the power to have a hearing and allow people to provide public comment. And so that commission is made up of different seats. And so for those seats, there are nominations, and the future commissioner seats, they're based on a term basis, right? And so when those terms get up, who's going to pick them? the Indiana House and Indiana Senate will be picking them. And so the actual next seat that will be popping up will be April 1st of 2027 by David Zingier. But in general, when you understand utility justice, the fight for voting rights doesn't really happen in a silo, right? Utility justice has become a major area where voting rights have taken hold, and utility justice can be described in many ways, but it's all united through increasing utility rates. Power bills are going up, less grid reliability. So as we see an increase in these disasters, as we see an increase in the fragility of these systems, as we see an increase in data centers, the grid has a very limited amount of power that it can provide. Then there are different deals that are happening between data centers as well as different utility companies. I'll explain later. But in Michigan, we have a problem of utility companies paying off politicians to prevent them from actually being good actors. And so we find similar issues throughout, and utility justice is deeply wed to voting rights. Moving on to Michigan.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And now I want to welcome, oh wait, no, keep going. Keep giving us the goodies. I know we're ready for Jasmine coming in hot. Go for it.
Yeah. And so as we talk about Gary and as we talk about rising utility bills, this is the same case for Michigan, basically. There is a functional similarity between utility monopoly. So when you usually, let's say you move to a new town, a utility monopoly just means that that utility company controls that entire region and there are no competitors, right? And so particularly in Michigan, that's become significant because DTE and Consumer Energy, their utilities, have been paying off politicians to help them out, to put people on the commission that they'd like, to provide them with leeway when it comes to investigations, to allow them to have significant rate hikes while the customers experience power outages for days on end throughout the summer as well as the winter. We all know that Michigan gets really cold. It's absolutely abhorrent to think about how people could survive a Michigan winter without power. And so when accountability becomes a lot harder for regulating utilities because of these political actors, we have to think about financial power and our ability to influence the political system to change who is overseeing them, to stop this flow of dark money from private utilities into the hands of politicians. And the way that we've been doing that in Michigan has been through something called a ballot measure. And so what is a ballot measure? A ballot measure is a citizen-led proposed law, constitutional amendment, or policy question that voters are deciding directly on an election ballot. So what's that really look like? That means you go to the ballot on November 3rd. You look at the ballot and you will see obviously the different people that you can vote for in terms of candidates, but then you also will see a question. And if you've ever been to vote before, you've probably seen these, but it'll be a question that is designated whether or not you agree or you disagree. And so in Michigan, on November 3rd, you will be able to see MMOP, which is Michiganders for Money Out of Politics. And so this is a coalition that the Hip Hop Caucus co-leads alongside other folks on the ground to ensure that DTE and Consumer Energy do not have the ability to influence our politics. Throughout the United States, we've seen the rise of billionaires and the rise of money being able to control exactly what is really a public good. And Michiganders for Money Out of Politics is a model that could be used throughout the United States. And so, again, thinking about ballot measures are only in practice and legal in 23 of our 50 states. This has been a point of contention. There have been many lawsuits as a result of the desire for this additional democratic tool. As you could probably assume, when you have a question that is very plainly written out on a ballot, it's pretty easy to get citizen backing and to have people have their own voices heard at the ballot. And so the legislative hurdles that MMOP may have previously had to experience are gone. MMOP will officially be on the ballot November 3rd on election day. And really what is important here is just registering to vote, particularly in Michigan for this fight, but for all fights. And following MMOP, Michiganders for Money Out of Politics. And then just being aware of ballot measures and these other tools that can be used to protect our democracy in a time where democracy is being attacked.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that information. And I think for people that maybe are just trickling in right now to our conversation, we're talking about the connection that a lot of our environmental and our climate changes that we're seeing all over, the world, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, high extreme heat, are really affecting our environment, and also it's starting to affect us, every day. So for those of you that want to get involved, there are so many ways to get involved with us with the Hip Hop Caucus, either to being a community committee member or just joining one of our campaigns. So let us know how you want to participate, and we will get your back. I want to bring up Jasmine back here to the stream, because she has been doing some incredible work also around utilities. So connect all the dots for us. People are asking a lot of good questions, in the chat. But if you can continue just educating us about how this connects with Gary, and also the work that we're doing that is happening everywhere right now, actually, in the country.
Yeah, sure. So this is really all about a simple question. Who is responsible for the decisions that affect whether we can afford to keep our lights on, whether our grid is strong enough when storms hit, and whether the energy we rely on every day is harming our health? That question is in front of the Georgia Public Service Commission, which is also known as the PSC. And in your state, they may be called a PUC, which is long for the Public Utility Commission. And the PSC in Georgia may not be an agency that people talk about every day, but its decisions really do affect the everyday norm of everyday Georgians. And the PSC helps decide what we pay for our electricity, what kinds of power plants get built, whether Georgia invests in clean energy or more fossil fuels, and whether our communities are protected from rising utility bills. The main utility company in Georgia for you to know about is a company called Georgia Power. And earlier this year, the PSC made a decision about two things that really impacted Georgians. The first was around something called a fuel cost, and the second was around something called a storm recovery cost. What's really important to note about it is that came up after Hurricane Helene. And Georgia Power originally asked the Public Service Commission to recover by charging $900 million onto the customers over the span of 4 years. Wow. And due to community organizing and creating public pressure, the PSC ultimately made a decision that resulted in lower bills for the residents. But this is bringing up something really important, which is that these PSCs and PUCs, they have the power to decide when utility costs are passed on to customers. And so we should look at Gary as a warning, right? When hurricanes hit, not only are Black and Brown communities left without power, we are often left to bear the costs and expenses behind that power coming back on. And we are seeing so many examples of these around this at commissions, around many different states, and they are not serving us. And so that really takes me on to another issue that's happening in Georgia that's very similar, which is around data centers. Right now, these PSCs and PUCs are making major decisions about data centers across the country in our home states. And a big example in Georgia right now is around something that's a 10 gigawatt new project capacity. And I'll just put it in simple terms for y'all, right? The 10 gigawatts really equates to power that would serve over 4 million homes in Georgia. This is a big reason behind the expansions, that they want to grow data centers instead of putting those powers back into Georgia homes.
Wow.
So in Gary, the long blackout showed us really what happens when communities do not have a reliable grid source, and when a rapid response plan isn't put into effect immediately. And what data centers is pushing even further is it's really allowing our energy future to go into utility companies and building their pockets with more billions of dollars, while we have to deal with the increased bills, the fragile infrastructure, and delayed restoration times. So what we have to call on these commissions to do is that we have to invest in people. And we must have strong grids for our families, for our communities, for seniors, small business owners. And these are really building in the public necessities that we need on a daily basis for our health, for our food and safety and security. So right now, there are two main ways that you can show up in Georgia around this issue and around any state, really. The first one is really you have to show up, right? So in Georgia specifically, around these projects, these things that connect back to our utilities and the cost that we cover, the major meeting that's happening right now is actually coming up in October. So if you're in Georgia on Thursday, October 15th, there is a very important meeting where we're hearing around this case and why we need to be pushing back and why we need to be focused on the costs that are going back to customers. And the second thing you can do, no matter what state you're in, whether you're in Georgia or not, is you can vote. Specifically in Georgia, though, there are 2 PSC seats up on this year's ballot. And so those 2 PSC seats are statewide, and every single Georgian gets to decide who is making these decisions in this commission and decides who is protecting their wallet, their health, and their family. And so, yeah, that's how we should look at Gary and how we should look at these utility companies.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for that. That was like really helpful information. Jasmine, thank you so much. And for those of you wondering, there is a text to vote here on the screen. There is a QR code. We appreciate so much all the work that the team is doing and the many different areas that we work on. So if you still are unsure of what we're asking you to do, we want you to come in hot to work with us. And lastly, I want to bring up Christy and Stefan to the conversation. We want to talk to all of you on the chat and watching right now. Hi, Christy. Hi, Stefan. Welcome back.
Hey, Auda.
Hey.
All right. So we are here talking about Respect My Vote, which is a, umbrella campaign for the Hip Hop Caucus, in which we want to talk about voting. So what are some of the things that we need people to do right now at this minute?
I mean, first, we need y'all to make sure to check that you're registered to vote, because if you're not registered to vote, then you can't vote on election day. You need to make a plan to vote. Definitely, this is our website. This is like a one-stop shop for y'all to go ahead and be able to look and see. This is where you can go register to vote. You can pledge to vote under here. You can check your registration. If you go down, we even have some more goodies for y'all, some numbers of what this campaign has done since 2008. We've reached 10 million voters, 150,000 people registered. We want to add y'all to those numbers so y'all can be a part of our organizing family. If you scroll down, there are state-by-state resources here. And then you can also go ahead and see what's on your ballot. And of course, really important, go ahead and enter your information here so that y'all can continue to build with us.
Absolutely. Estefan, when was the first time you voted? Like, do you remember this?
You're taking me back. You're taking me back to 2004 is when I first voted in that election, the presidential election. And it was really when Hurricane Katrina happened in 2005 that I got really real about it. Me and my college roommate at the time, Darrell, what's up, Darrell? But we were watching the news and we just was seeing everything that was happening like on campus. And it was like something got to be done. Like, what can I do? And so I became glued to what was happening and how can I be able to make my voice heard about voting for people who are actually going to help our communities and not those who are stalling the help that we need. And so it's been since 2004. It's been a minute.
I hear you, and I'm curious for the people, and I promise you guys we're almost there. Let us know in the comments when was the first time you voted, or if you have not voted. I'm going to bring back here a registration link. You can text us. You can go to respectmyvote.com. You can scan it on your phone. If you can't scan because you're watching from your phone, just take a quick screenshot and show it to your friends so that you can check your registration. You can register, if you are not registered, and you can pledge to vote. So before we move on to say goodnight for the night, I would love to ask every one of you right now on the chat, if you want to pledge to vote, put a chat, put a little heart in the comment, or say yes, or put a thumbs up. Let me know, the folks in the comments, if you want to pledge with us to vote. And please take a screenshot right now of this. Wait, hold on. Let me see how I do this. There we go. The other way. There we go. And pledge to vote with us. So this is it. This has been a wonderful, exhilarating hour. I feel like I learned so much about what's the situation with utilities all around the country. and what's happening at Gary. We gave you some tools. We're trying to create community with all of you. And we want to thank you so much for being with us. Our next call is going to be on September 15th. Please join us. Please come and join us. And there are many ways for you to get involved. And I'll show you guys in just a minute on the presentation that you can, follow us on social media. You can text to vote. We also have a link in bio with many resources for you at Hip Hop Caucus. Please take a screenshot of this. And of course, if you want to help fuel the movement, we'll take every help we can get at hiphopcaucus.org/donate. So thank you so much for being with us. Our next call is on September 15th. And it's a very exciting call because that day is National Voting Registration Day. All right. And we're going to have a big party with all of you. Thank you so much. And now I leave you guys with the Respect My Vote birthday shout outs from the team and many other supporters. Thank you so much, everyone. And have a great
birthday. Respect My Vote. Major shout out to this campaign for ensuring that every vote is directed and respected. Cheers to all that you've accomplished over these 18 years, and cheers to 18 more.
I'm just looking at old pictures of you. I remember when you was born. Happy birthday, Respect My Vote.
I want to wish Respect My Vote a wonderful birthday. Is turning 18, old enough to vote. So let's go. Happy birthday.
Happy 18th birthday, Respect My Vote. You grown now.
Happy birthday, Respect My Vote.
Happy birthday to Respect My Vote.
I want to wish a very special happy birthday, 18th birthday to Respect My Vote.
Happy 18th birthday to Respect My Vote. 18 years putting in this work. Thank you. We love you. From KP to you. Have a great one.
Hey, it's your boy Lavalis, and I just want to stop by to wish Respect My Vote a happy birthday. You're 18 now. See you at the polls.
Happy 18th birthday, Respect My Vote.
When I think back, man, those 18 years of working in our communities and fighting for our people, man, I get a tear in my eye because I know how far we've come, but I also know how far we got to go. Listen, don't let anybody take your power away. Together we can make it happen.
May this 18th year where you're finally voting age be one for the history books. Every election is important. Make sure you know your rights. Make sure you know where to vote. And make sure you exercise that vote. Happy birthday.
Years, 18 years. 18 years of turning first-time voters into forever voters.
Yo, what's up, man? We are Travis Porter.
And right now, this is the PSA, man. Respect our vote. Respect our vote.
For 18 years, Hip Hop Caucus's Respect My Vote campaign gave voice to a movement that felt like it wasn't being heard. We built this campaign brick by brick, on blocks, in barbershops, during music festivals, and in a culture that tells the truth when politicians and even some organizations won't.
Guys, what's up? It's Sierra here, and I want to encourage all of you, each and every one of you, to go out and vote on November the 6th. It is so important.
And today, we're still here, still loud, still building power in every state that tries to count us out, especially in the South.
I really feel like the soul of the country is at stake right now.
Respect My Vote is the longest running, largest hip-hop voter mobilization campaign ever. First launched on July 28, 2008, we have educated and mobilized millions of voters in every election cycle since. And powerful artists and organizers have always played a major role in the campaign because our vote was never given to us.
If you give up your right to vote, you also give up your right to complain.
We took it, we protect it, we pass it down. And now we're demanding that every elected official respect our vote. 2026 is no different for us, but we also know that it's a critical time. So this is what we need y'all to do. Pledge to vote right now at respectmyvote.com or text VOTE to 79591. The power is in our hands, and we've been using it for 18 years. Let's continue using it for the next 18.
You may not respect my approach, but the gag is, you will respect my vote.